Guys, we can start. Remember, we are done with chapter 1 and 2. Chapter 3 is all about security, but because there is no practicals, I wanted first to give you a lesson where you have to configure some of the things. So it's gonna be on chapter 4 before me going back to chapter 3, because we took like the whole week without doing the practicals. Yeah. So we are going to see one of the lessons where we have to practice, right? So for those who are writing, I will be very fast like today. Please. If you wanna talk, you can go outside. You are free to talk. Nobody's forcing you. Nobody is stopping you. Okay, we can move forward. So today we're going to talk about access control list, ACL, right? Access control list. For those who are updating their CVs after the end of the lesson, you can go back to your skills. You add what we call access control list. So basically, those are rules, right? Most of the times, people used to call rule-based lists, right? Those are the rules that you are going to configure on your router or your switch. So I have a switch, or maybe I have a router. I will configure what we call access control list. So you have like your router here. This is your router. And maybe you have a switch here. You can configure what we call ACL on this particular router. You can also configure your ACL here, right? Who's that? I'm busy. How to come down? Come down. Okay. So as I said, your access control list, those are the rules. Okay. Used by what? By routers and switches, right? They are just rules that you are going to be using. Your routers and your switches will be using, right? So those rules will be used to identify traffic. Rules will be used to identify traffic, right? You have to remember that, right? We are going to use access control list to identify what? Traffic, right? So you have your router, like this one. This is your router, right? You can apply access control list to identify the traffic. Maybe the traffic that will be coming to your router, right? Or the traffic that will be going out, right? So we have the in and we have what? The out, right? So the access control list that you're gonna configure here will allow you, according to your configurations, you want your router to check the traffic that will be coming inside or the traffic that will be going like out, right? You can say, whatever that is coming in, block. I don't want like any traffic that will come to my router accessing this particular computer. You can block it or you can allow it, right? So when you are dealing with your access control list, you have to remember that what I want to identify traffic. But traffic that will be coming in or going out, right? So we call it the inbound and outbound, right? Every time you want to configure your access control list, you have to know, I want the traffic that will be coming inside my router or the traffic that will be going outside, right? Any question, guys? I'm going very slowly because it's like a very, very important lesson, right? Like here, we have so many computers here. There is a router there. Every traffic will pass by our router. You can go to your router, you say, I don't want guys from outside to reach this computer, right? I don't want any traffic from outside to reach this website or to reach this application, right? But you have to know which direction, the inbound or the outbound, right? Now, your access control list, right? You are going to configure your access control list based on what? Some characteristics. Right? So your access control list, when you have your router or your switch, you can configure it based on some of the characteristics, right? You can go for what we call like source IP, right? So I can identify the traffic based on the source IP, right? So I can configure my access control list based on an IP address, but the source one. So I can say any traffic that will come from this IP address, don't allow it, right? So you can configure your access control list based on a source IP, the way you are sitting there. So I can block you based on your IP address, right? You can also configure it based on what? Source and destination. So we can also look at destination IP, right? You can also use like port numbers. You can also use protocol, right? You can block the ping, you can block the TCP, you can block the FTP, you can block the secure shell, you can block someone to access a specific applications. So those are the characteristics, the way you can configure like an access control list, right? Guys, any question from where we are going? It's a bit long, but it's easy and it's very crucial, right? as I said, some of the guys, they want money, but they are banning the routers. So I got an issue here. I saw my friend, the messages. One of my guy finished just CCNA 1. They're in Durban, Sabah students. Before CCNA 2, that guy got a position, right? The guy went there 3 times. The guy did wrong. The guy went by FNB. The guy couldn't configure the router. Last week, the guy went by the airport, fixing the network there. The guy had a problem. Now Cisco from US, they are writing an email to the company. They want to investigate if the guy did really a CCNA course. So I'm waiting now for the feedback like today. They've been calling me for verification. I say, yeah, I did, but the local ones, right? Yeah, I did treat. No, the problem was that guy is a beginner. They couldn't give him like a bigger position like that. He was a beginner. He should start working. How come like you, the way you are like this, right? They are sending you by the airport, go and fix the network there. Now you access the routers, the switches yourself. This is the way they are sending that guy. It's a small guy, maybe 29, like you. I was feeling so. I said, why your company is doing this like to you? You have to work with somebody getting the experience. Now the guy made mistakes with routers, switches there, you know. By the airports, can you imagine? Eh? It's fixing the network. Myself, I say, man, you're in trouble. But your courage, I like his courage. Yeah, it doesn't run away. But it's been 2 months, he's doing the same job. Okay. So don't just look for the paper. Sometimes you must know something, right? This is what I wanted just to remind you. You must know something. Okay, now to summarize whatever that we are doing like today, I said from the beginning, we are talking about ACL, access control list. What does it mean? You know, when you have a router or maybe you have a switch, you can try to configure what we call the access control list, right? What does it mean? You are going to configure some rules, right? You're going to configure some rules that will allow you to identify what? Traffic, right? For you to know what is coming in and what goes out and how you are going to deal with it, right? You can have like this case here. Like, I clicked the wrong place. Okay, let's say you have a server here, right? This is your server. Your website is xt.com. I like it. I must open a company with xt, yeah, name. Now you have a router here, right? This is your router, right? And there you have maybe some other computers. Now you have a PC here, like another computer here, right? Now you can try to configure the access control list on this router, the ACL. You said, okay, I'm gonna configure some rules on this router. Those rules will allow me to deny traffic, right? So you're gonna deny this guy going to this website. You can deny this guy, right? You deny, but you allow him to access this computer. You permit, right? Done. So you go to your router, you said, this PC is not allowed to go to the server, but it's allowed to go to other. You understand? So this is how the access control list works. You go to your router, you configure your access control list, your rules. So what is your rule or your rules? What are your rules? You said, okay, I want this computer, PC1, to access this other computer, but not accessing the server. Very easy, very simple to understand, right? Because when you're gonna have your company, you won't gonna allow like any device to access like anything. There are some of the restrictions that you're gonna have, right? That will allow you to manage your bandwidth and so on, right? So this is what we are studying like today. When we're gonna finish like explaining, we're gonna go to practicals. We are going like to see like for this particular case, how am I gonna like deny and how am I gonna permit? So the whole story about the access control list is what? Denying or permitting, right? Like for this router, you are denying whatever that will do what will come in this, like this server, right? That's why you have to know which port are you dealing with. This one or this one. For this router, for this case. So this is the what? The out. And this is what? When we are considering like this one, like this server, right? But if we want to deal with this PC, we can consider like this one in and this one out. But we are going to see which case we are talking about. Which one is the source, which one is the destination. But we are going to understand better, right? Now, as I said like previously, you have to understand which port am I gonna deal with, the inbound or the outbound, right? And what are the characteristics? Because for you to configure your access control list, you have to look at the characteristics. Am I gonna block you? Am I gonna allow you based on what, right? Based on your source IP or destination or your port number or the protocols. I can block you from accessing a file transfer protocol. I can block you from accessing the ping from whatever, right? Any question before us moving, guys? Remember that we have to finish before what? Before before September. So next, this month from tomorrow is the last. Like every configuration must be done. From September, we're only focusing on practice questions, right? You only see it, you revise, you repeat it, you check, you only do the practice questions. Now we're gonna talk about the types of access control lists. Right? So many questions on this one. We do have 3 types. Right? The types of access a control list. We do have what we call the standard. Right? We do have the extended, ACL, and normally we do have the named ACL. Many people don't want to talk about the named ACL. So for the exam, you have to know, right? But those who are going to write the CCST, I'm not like too sure if you're gonna get some question about the ACL. But it doesn't mean like you must be lazy, yeah? You mustn't know it because you're already a CCNA certified, so you know it. So there are 3 types: standard, extended, or named ACL. What does it mean? It means this. You can have your router here. You have your server here, all right? And you got some computers here. Now, you wanna configure your ACL here, right? So if you wanna configure your ACL on your router here, there are 3 ways you can go for, right? Somebody else can go for what? For standard. Somebody else can go for what? For extended. Somebody else can go for named access control list. But you must know the difference, right? What do you wanna accomplish, right? You cannot just wake up in the morning and say, no, I will go for standard, because it won't gonna work for different cases, right? Now, let's talk about a standard. For standard ACL, you have to understand that the characteristics that you are going to deal with, you are going to use what? Source IP. So for me to deny or to permit the traffic, I will check what? I will check the source IP, right? So for me to deny like a traffic, or for me to allow you to access one of the computer or one of the application or one of the server, my configurations must specify only what? Source IP, right? You only check the source IP. And you have to know that this type of access control list will use a number between 1 to 99. Right? But sometimes it can use the extended numbers. Huh? That's gonna go between, let me try to come down. I'm way there for what? I wanna come down once. Okay, yeah. Why is giving me this? I cannot type like properly. I don't know what must I do now. I must bring it a bit small. Guys, what's happened? What must I do here? You don't know? I was typing. Right? So those are the things you have to know for the exam. The traffic will be identifier by using the source IP. The number I'm gonna use like is between 1 to 999, but I can go for the extended numbers from 1,300 to 1,999. So what does it mean? When you see like somebody created an access control list, you see maybe the guy is saying access list 20, you will know, this is a standard access control list. Now, the extended one, the only difference is how they can identify the traffic. This is it. The first one uses the source IP. The second one uses what? Source and destination. Right? It can use also what? Like port numbers. So it's using so many characteristics. So it can block based on source IP or destination, like port number, protocol, right? So you got more possibilities. So I can block you by using your IP address, and I can block you using a specific protocol, right? So I got more possibilities than the standard. And we have what we call named. Open. I load it. Now we have the last one, named access control list. This one, you don't use numbers. You are using names to identify access control list. Use name, like instead of numbers. This is the only difference. And you must know when we are talking about the standard, you're gonna use it, you're gonna apply it close to the destination, right? So you are going to configure it, you are going to use the router that is close to the device that you wanna block or permit when you go for standard. But when you go for extended, you're gonna use it like close to the source. You understand? Suppose like I wanna block your computer, right? Or maybe I wanna permit it or deny it. I will check which router is near your computer, right? Which router is near to that network. This is the standard. Right? But the extended, you're gonna use it near to the source, right? Suppose like I wanna block you to reach my computer. Myself, I'm the source, right? Now I'm gonna check which router is next to me, like closer to me. This is where I'm gonna configure my access control list. So for standard, the access control list will be configured to the router that is next to the destination. Okay, let's do an exercise. I think from the exercise, you'll understand whatever that we've been talking. From the theory side, you won't wanna really grab the concept. Let's go to Packet Tracer, and we are going to do one of the exercise. You have like maybe 2 switches here. You get maybe some 2 computers here, and there you have a server, and maybe I have this one. You have maybe your 2 routers here. All right. Jonathan, what happened with your students? What happened with your friends? They want also to go and ban the routers from the airport. Huh? We are waiting for an explosion one day. I'm gonna just listen. Hey, this is Lunzi Benz. The server room. So it was plugging the console cable. I don't know. Yeah, but that's happened. Even if you're a professional, it's gonna still happen. It's not because you don't know. No, it does. So it does happen for everybody. It's not something that you must take it. The mistake, it's happened for everybody. Even God made a mistake. He gave Satan power. You see the way now we are suffering. Yeah, everybody can make a mistake. Okay, let's do the cabling side. When you are done with the cabling, now I'll give you my scenario, what I want it. So from here, what we're gonna do, we will do this. This is the server side, right? So what we're gonna do, we are going to permit or deny the traffic, right? Deny traffic to the server, right? We are going to deny the traffic to the server from the red network, right? So we don't want the guys from here, from the red side. Let me look a nice red one. Ah, this one is too, I don't like it. Ish. But we don't want to use it. We don't want these people, this one, these guys, we are going to deny to the server only, right? Are you done? I don't want to go fast. Are you done, guys? I want to remove the screen. It's giving me a headache now. Let's precise the IPs. From here, we can pick up 192.168.3.0. All right, this one is going to be 192.168.4.0/24. All right. And for the server, it's going to be maybe 192.168.4.2. And this one is going to be 192.168.4.3/24. For this one, this network here, it's going to be 192.168.1.0/24. There it's 192.168.1.3/24. There we're going to punch 192.168.1.4/24. There it's going to be .1. And here it's going to be .2. There we're going to use .1 and .1. So I'm just giving you a few seconds so that you can reach where I am, my friends. My friends, sorry, are you doing it? Oh, okay. I want somebody to come, Eva, come and give the IPs the way, right? Fast. Come and assign the IPs only. I don't give you something else. Just check the interfaces, whatever that we want. Like everything must be on first. And somebody will come first to configure the IP routes, and we can move forward. Other guys, you must be like, careful when she's making a mistake. You must. Ladies only, no men. Ladies only. You must work. No running the way to go. Why are you giving it to? You see already see, for everything it's already said. You cannot put your own there because these guys, you put what I've said there. Yeah. Default gateway also must be there. The default gateway is the .111. Yes. Must close it, eh? You want so many things to open for you. Okay. What you want? Fast. When the way you are chatting with your, you know yourself. I don't
I'm not used to chat.
When you're chatting fast, especially when
I don't chat.
when you want money or you want chatting fast. When it's an appointment, you start delaying. You must check, and when she's giving something that is not there, it's gonna give her the trouble. You must tell her if she's giving something that is not there. Default gateway is like correct, huh? Yeah, now they, yeah, go to the ports now from the router side. Must be big, that screen. Oh, okay, leave it small because
I won't see this.
you wanna see the ports, eh? It's the way it's giving trouble, eh? Hey, don't make a mistake, you must be careful. You guys can check for her there, which ports we are dealing with now. The one from the switch. Which one it is? From the switch.
On the switch.
Shortcut. Yes, my lord. Okay, well, which interface is this one? 0/0/0. 0/0. I think so. That one from the switch.
0.
Yeah, press enter. You can check and check first. I don't want us to start crying later on like a guy. Okay. Yeah, this is the one. The IP is 1.1. No shutdown. Thank you. Shortcut. Okay. Can go for the next one. Which one it is? Okay, that one. 0/0/1. The IP is 3.1. No, finish up with the same one. Close it. Finish up with that other interface once. The 3.1, I think so. That's a no shot. It's finished. No shot. Press enter. Copy. Do right. Yeah. Now you can move on to that. Yeah, just close it. Yeah. make sure you know the ports, eh? Check.
This is 3.2.
Which one? Which port are you dealing with?
This one.
Which interface? Yeah, that one is 3.2. It's 4.1. When she's done, Jonathan, you can finish up for me for the IP road, right? Just do the static code. I thought it was women. Women, they gonna try to think too much. They know, but they don't memorize. They have again to say, they have to give them time again to check. They want to tell them straight, and when IP road, like, okay, Jonathan, thank you very much. Just come and finish up with IP route first. First, we have to make sure that those two networks or three networks can talk before even configuring the access control list. So before going to access control list, we have to make sure that they can communicate, right? First. You must check the IPs there. Small mistake, we're gonna be.
I know them. I know them.
I know them. And you know the. Don't make us going for troubleshooting. Hey, what you did? Check the IP. Find something. This one, no, this one, you cannot. I know the people. That guy, if the guy would like to show like he knows, even if doesn't know, it's like to, that one is making mistakes. Right. So the guy was want to show like he knows, like those guys. Now they open a case against you.
We're going to this network, ne?
You can do it both sides. IP routes, which network you want? Because I don't know which network, which one are you are dealing with?
The first one, yeah.
The first one, okay?
Yeah. So I'm accessing this side.
Okay. You know the incoming one is the 3.2. Which route are here?
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, the incoming port is the 3.2. Hey, oh. Okay, no, it's fine, it's fine. You know the story, I know. I wanted to. No, see, you made a mistake. We're putting on weekends. We're taking something.
I know.
There are so many ways of being drunk. It's not only by taking water.
This port is 3.2, ne?
Yeah. So many ways.
Hey.
This train is always a problem.
um,
To show IP route, let's check the routing table. We can verify the routing table, make sure like we know how to reach other, yeah, the static route is there. All the networks are there, right? The 4, the 3, the 1. Okay, it's fine. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yes, guys, we can move forward. You could see how my assistants finished to assign the IPs to the devices. What they did again, they tried to make those networks talk by configuring like a static route, right? So first, we are sure like those computers, they can communicate, but not by saying we have to try to ping. Let's try to ping and see. So if they read, they can access the server. 192.168.4. Server is which IP? .2. So if there is a request, like timeout, no, it's fine now because it was taking time. Yes. So there's a communications. I will make sure also this one too can communicate. .2, it's fine. I will try to check if they can talk to the yellow. .4.3. Let's see what's gonna happen. It's fine. Now, guys, what we're gonna do now, we are going to configure like an access control list, right? We don't want these guys from this network to access the server because it's not everybody can access the payroll. It's not everybody can access maybe the shop management app, right? You will know how to shrink your configurations, how to split, right? So what we wanted now to do, let me try to put something here. I can, this is our source, right? So I'm gonna consider this one so as the source, right? And this one is what? The destination, right? So there is a source and there is a destination. Which one I want to configure? I want a standard. I will go for standard ACL, right? When you know which one you're gonna take like a source, which one gonna be your destination, you are fine. Now you're gonna go for standard. Remember standard, you are going to go to, you have to check what? The closest destination, right? Which router is close to the red? This router, right? This is where you're gonna configure your access control list. It's gonna be here, right? So you're gonna ask yourself your question. You're gonna choose your source and you're gonna choose your destination. You say, okay, my source is this one. My destination is this one. Okay. So I'm gonna go for standard or extended because I want just to allow or to deny access to a single IP address, right? Just an IP address. So I can go for standard. Now, when we are talking about standard, we are talking about the router that is closest to the destination. Which router is this one? Right? So which port we're gonna use? Which interface is which interface? This one. Right? So we're gonna use this one. So we're gonna create an access control list and we are going to apply it to which interface? So you create an access control list and you apply it to this interface. Just 2 steps, create and apply. This is what we're gonna do. So 1, you create an access list.